right, welcome back to Eyes Open Media. Prophet John here. Hope you guys are doing well. Okay, so we have one more day before the USA China trade deal happens, and that's going to be on Wednesday because most of the elite events happen on Tuesday nights and Wednesdays and Thursdays. But Tuesday night into Wednesdays are usually the time frame of the lot of important information and news comes out during Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. But I like to look at that Tuesday night into Wednesday. But anyways, so before this the ceremony happens, China has now been taken off the list of the currency manipulator. Okay, so China is no longer a currency manipulator, according to the U.S. Treasury. All right, so Mnuchin, all right, has taken them off, and they're good to go. Okay, that was one of the things that they wanted the United States of America to take off before they actually signed the trade deal. And China has arrived to the United States, and they're in D.C. And tomorrow they're gonna have this ceremony. Okay, and it looked like it was not gonna take place, and it might not. We still have a whole day to go. Something crazy could happen today that makes this thing delayed, even though there is a ceremony planned and people have prepared for tomorrow's ceremony to actually go to the ceremony. And we have military people who are prepared for the ceremony. We have all types of elder veterans and Chinese veterans and others that have prepared for the ceremony. So it would be kind of crazy if they literally said the ceremony's off and everybody has spent so much time preparing. You probably have staff members and things that are prepared for the ceremony and taking their time off of doing other things. So yeah, so this is gonna be crazy if something Black Swan event happened today or tomorrow morning to delay the signing of the ceremony. So I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out to see if they actually do sign it. I did do a kind of like a yes or no poll on my Instagram stories, and let me actually check what the people on my Instagram actually said. The percentage. Let me see here. Let's look at the percentage. I said trade deal phase 1 signing, and this was yesterday, so it was 2 days ago. Um, and I said yes or no if it would happen, and majority. Let me see majority said yes. So 32 people said yes, and 8 people still have their questions, okay, about it. So the Donald Trump will participate in the signing of ceremony on the agreement between the United States of America and China, Wednesday, January 15, 2020. All right. So yeah, 32 people said yes, and 8 people said no. All right. So the poll's still up on my Instagram stories, Currency365. All right. So that's what people think. Okay. So the majority of people think that this is going to actually take place on tomorrow. Okay. And but the good news is that China is no longer a currency manipulator, which we know they are. But under this agreement, which is a currency agreement, by the way. Now, who said that? Who knew that it was a currency agreement before we even literally started the phase 1 trade deal? I mean, when we were talking about the trade deal in 2018, somebody was saying that the first steps of the trade deal must be currency. I wonder who that was. Okay, so I know Benny and the New Elites talked about it as well, but I swear, I mean, when 2018 was hitting, and it was about, I'm not sure whether it was October, November, and that time period when I was literally just giving everybody what's going to happen in the future with Iraq and Abadi and who was going to be the new prime minister and all these things, and that Abadi would leave, and he would not become the new prime minister, and all these things. And then in November we talked about how Abadi wouldn't sign into the new government or swear into the new government. He wouldn't even take a position in the new government. He would sit on the sideline and just wait it out. And then Abdul Mahdi would not do anything for Iraq, and he would not complete his cabinet members because he was threatened by Iran. And so all those things were taking place. But we also talked about the trade deal, and I said that the trade deal is going to start with the currencies. That's what it's going to start with. The trade deal will start with the currencies, and it will start with currency manipulation. And once China stops manipulating the currency and have agreed to stop manipulating the currency, and show their true value of their currency. And that means that the United States also has to do the same thing. The United States is dollar is not at its true value on the index. On the index is at like what 97, 98, and the true value is like 75, 80, or maybe what I mean, somewhere around there. 75 to 80 is the true value of the US dollar on the index. So when they sign this agreement, is the US dollar going to go down to 75, 80 range? That would be interesting, right? So I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Okay, but China won't, needs will, in this agreement will stop devaluing the currency to try to take advantage of the marketing or the exports and imports and all the other stuff around the world, trade, agreements and stuff like that, using their currency, dropping their currency lower to have an advantage over other countries, and then it's basically a race to the bottom, right? So when China signs this deal to stop manipulating the currency and some other stuff that's in the background that we don't know about, maybe in this trade deal as well, China is going to accelerate to the world reserve currency. That could be in this trade deal as well, right? China in this trade deal, China might as they stop manipulating currency, that means they have to take their hands off of Vietnam. That could also be in this trade deal. And so what happens after they sign this trade deal? Vietnam is going to buck up to China now because China now was agreed to remove their hands off of Vietnam and stop suppressing Vietnam and doing the things that they're doing behind the scenes against Vietnam and allow Vietnam to currency to actually come and play games in the big leagues. So we don't know what the secret details are and the secret deals behind the trade deal. All we know is what they tell us and they show us. But there's probably lots of secret deals behind the scenes in this phase one currency trade deal because it's a currency. It's a farmer's deal, but it deals with the farmers and products, but that also deals with currency, right? When you're doing trade and farming you have to know what these things are going to be as well. So those that's all playing into this phase one trade deal, which is a currency trade deal. It's a farmer trader trading product currency trade deal, right? This phase one, and but I think there's a lot of secrets behind there as well. I think there's a lot of secret dealings behind this as well. Okay, so another thing could be, well, what about Iraq? You know what I mean? What about Iraq? Well, what are we gonna do with Iraq? I'm pretty sure they talked about that, right? What are we going to do with Iraq? Because Iraq needs to be a player in the global markets. So that's probably one of the things they discussed as well. Of course, they discussed that. Mike Pompeo went over there to try to get them to sign an Exxon deal worth $500 billion. Of course, they discussed Iraq and Iran and the suppression of the currencies. So, Vietnam, suppression of the currency. Donald Trump told Vietnam, you're not at your true value. I'm guaranteeing you that this is in the trade deal. Okay? You're not at your true value. Now, USA is going to do a trade deal with Vietnam as well to stop currency manipulation, currency suppression, and return them to their real value as well. They're going to be allowed to go back to their real value, and stop suppressing their currency prices. Or you'll be hit with historic economic sanctions. You know what I mean? And a lot of countries are going to say, no, thank you. We'll just lift our value of currency. Okay. Um, and Vietnam has no reason not to, because they've had 9 years of economic boom, but yet their citizens haven't seen any value added to their currency. So yeah, so we'll see what happens. I'm over 10 minutes, so I'm gonna keep the videos 10 minutes. But anyways, that's it. So yeah, tomorrow is the historic ceremony for the trade deal phase 1, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if it actually does take place. And then what happens either before it takes place, or what happens right after it takes place, right? So let's see what happens between now and the trade deal signing. And then let's see what happens like within 72 hours after the dealing. Let's see what happens to the dollar. Let's see what happens to the Chinese yuan. The Chinese yuan starts to gain value. Let's see what happens with other currencies around the world. We're also watching for Brexit, because Brexit is coming up in 2 weeks. And we know that as soon as they Brexit out, the UK, Europe will financially collapse, because other countries will also announce to the world they are leaving the European Union as well. Now we've had, I think, Spain and Poland are two that we're looking at, but a lot of other countries and them are going to make their own announcements as well. So watch for Europe to financially have problems right after Brexit. So this is going to, if we start to see signs in their stock markets and stuff like that, in the European stock markets and stuff, then that's going to have a trickle effect in China, America, Australia. Okay, so let's just watch and see what happens. Okay, so the trade deal, then Brexit. We're gonna see what happens here. This is gonna be this next month is going to be crazy. That means that puts us at what? February 15th. So February 14th, February 15th, we're going to see a lot of changes. The world will probably look a little bit different. It might not look a whole lot different, but it's going to be look a little bit different after we see the trade deal and Brexit actually happen. I think the world's going to look a little bit different by Valentine's Day. All right. Peace out. God bless. See you guys in the next video. Peace out. Eyes open. Bye.